All right, today we're going to be hitting the review of the Cloudstratus 3. I'm about to head out in my very last run. Welcome back to Blake.Running.SportsPodiatrist. Today we are reviewing the awesome daily trainer from the Cloudstratus 3. Let's break it down. If you're new to my channel, I am Blake. I'm a sports podiatrist. I work and teach sports podiatry and biomechanics at the University of Newcastle. I run myself. I work with lots of runners. I get to try lots of shoes, as you can see, and I'm going to talk about how this shoe works for the everyday runner and for the clinician and how we can marry the two together. All right, today we're going to be hitting the review of the Cloudstratus 3. I'm about to head out in my very last run in them. To give you some context, the durability of this shoe is insane. I've done 800 Ks in it, and I just got back from Europe in, we're there for 6 weeks, and I ran probably 50 Ks a week and use the shoe every time. So Cloudstratus 3 has been around for a while, on the up at the moment, making lots of good shoes. I've got lots of their shoes, but this comes in at about $280, can buy it in most places, generally have lots of stock. Now, one of my favorite things about this shoe is it's still cushioned, but you can still feel the ground. And the challenge these days with all the super trainers and big high stack shoes is you do feel like you're getting rolled forward, but you don't always feel what you're pushing into. And this shoe ticks both those boxes, where it's not a huge amount underfoot, but I can still feel when I'm hitting the ground, and it just feels a bit more minimalist, which is great. Now, the Cloudstratus 3 has double helix foam, which I'd probably put it in about the medium compliance rate. It doesn't feel super bouncy, but you still get quite a bit when you're landing, especially if you land on the heel like myself. You get a bit of return, and it does pull you forward over the mid-stand through the propulsion. Now, I sound like a broken record, I'm sure, with the durability in this video, but I'm telling you, this just is unheard of in the shoe market. Like, I see on average 10 to 15 patients a day, and seeing foot and ankle pathology and below knee. I'm talking about shoes all the time, and a big problem is durability. So this shoe is in my recommendation more often when I'm needing something a bit more volume in the shoe, which is important for foot orthoses and heel lifts and things like that. But certainly when we're looking for something that's going to be offloading to a particular structure, and with the drop, that's things like the Achilles, things like the tib post, the tendons on the outside of the foot. But it's also going to last, which is quite different. Type of runner this shoe is going to work for myself. I'm about 100 kilos, so I'm pretty heavy when I come down on the ground. It generates quite a bit of force. This shoe, out of all the shoes that I've had recently, and it's a bloody lot of them, has probably been one of the most durable. You would think that these would compress, and they do a little bit, but I haven't actually noticed that with my running. I think a heavier runner, or a runner that wants more durability, this shoe is going to be really good, and that's really hard to find on the market at the moment. I really like a firm shoe, and this sits somewhere in the middle. Kind of use the continuum of a Nike Invincible and, let's say, a Saucony shoe up this end. I find that the Stratus is pretty smack there in the middle. Not too soft, not too firm, which is great for myself. Anything between 5 to 10 kilometers, it feels really good. We're running 37 at the back, which is the stack height, how much foam they've got there, and we're running 31 at the front. So we're on a 6mm slant, which I found clinically works really well for those conditions that need a little bit of sagittal plane offloading. Things like the Achilles tendon can work really well. The peroneal tendons, the tib post tendons are the ones that go on the inside and the outside of the foot. Now, one awesome benefit of this shoe clinically, working as a sports podiatrist and seeing and working with lots of runners, is we have lots of room in the shoe and the volume in through there. Now, when we use foot orthoses, when we use things like heel lifts to unload painful tissue to give them a time to recover, this shoe really offers so much room, and it just means you can fit more in there. And generally speaking, the more we can fit, the more we can unload the tissue, hopefully quicker recovery, and get back to doing what we love. I wouldn't run probably anything under 4-minute Ks. It still feels pretty light, but running 5-minute Ks now, and it feels good. And to get up on the forefoot, because again, there's not that much underfoot, it does feel nice. It does feel a little bit like you're barefoot, but you've still got that protection. So if you wanted to run maybe a tempo session in it, takes you away. I mean, definitely easy and long, but could get a tempo out. It doesn't feel like you give that much back, you know, under 4 minute K, so I haven't used it for any sets or reps or anything like that. So let's talk about the upper of this shoe, another winner. I've really always liked On's uppers, but for me, top category for an upper is a Mizuno Nimbus. That thing is beautiful, but this really breathable. I had no issues. I've got a pretty broad forefoot, so sometimes I can put a little bit of pressure on the outside, and didn't break through, didn't feel like it was rubbing or irritating. People with higher arches, flatter feet, just broader feet are really going to find this really comfortable, probably because of the volume, but I found that the upper is a winner, and it's a great size, which are the two good wins. Speaking about fit, I run a size 12. True to size, didn't have to go bigger, didn't feel like the shoe was the wrong size. Width and length was really important. And a note to add to that, we have some unpublished data that we did back a couple of years ago with the university, and surprisingly a lot of people do not wear shoes that are the right size. So please, whether you use a Break device, whether you go in and get a personalized fit, make sure lengthwise and widthwise your shoes are fitting. It sounds really simple, I know, but we had numbers up around the 80% mark. They either had the wrong width and the wrong size. So get the right size. For the therapists out there, just because of the volume in this shoe, I sound like a broken record, I know, you can just fit so much. So I use a lot of foot orthoses in my practice to wedge people and take pressure off sore tissues. This shoe's got plenty of room. We can have big medial flares, big lateral flares in the forefoot, metatarsal pad, a little deflection underneath the material work really well. Because it lasts a long time, you get a good combination of foot orthoses and shoes, and people are just going to hopefully feel better for longer. So an update from the previous model, which you can see this is all filled in now. But if you look at the width of that is going to provide a lot of stability. Shoes these days, they don't have material in through the inside or outside to provide more stability. It's more about the geometry. So the wider that is, you can theorize more surface area, more ground pushing back. We've got a little bit more of a bigger platform, so we should have more stability. And I definitely feel that as well. Running between, you know, race shoes and shoes that are a little bit narrower through there, putting something like this on, you just feel a little bit more stable. Of course, that increases the weight, but again, you're only jogging slowly and just using it as a daily trainer. If you check out the grip in through there, you can see pretty normal wear pattern, which I do land pretty neutrally, but the grip on this thing, I've run it in trails, not too many times, but I have run it in the rain, and it feels really good. And I've found that the On shoes really do provide a pretty good tractional surface for runners. So rain, going fast, they really do work well. And the Cloudstratus 3 definitely has that. A few extra features that you might not see in your typical shoe review channel, but laces, plenty of room. I did have to heel lock it, but I heel lock most shoes. Had no issues with the heel. This is a little bit of rubbing, but I had 6 weeks in Europe and I was putting my foot in and out of the shoe in a rush, so that's why that happened. But I had no issues around the heel. I do have a pretty bony foot and I had no trouble. I think it's pretty padded and pretty well fitting, so I think the majority of people, probably speaks to the volume, but the majority of people are going to find this shoe pretty stable. As a comparison, you know, clinically I see the Brooks Ghost. People love that shoe. Just generally, Brooks is a pretty good brand in regards to fitting. I think the Cloudstratus 3 fits into that category as well, and things like the Cloud Monster, similar volume, fits well, and most of the population do pretty well in it. Times of runs I've done in the Stratus, you know, kind of anything below 4 minute Ks just doesn't feel like I have it too snappy. So between 4 and 5:30 is about my kind of easy tempo pace, and that's what I've been using it most for. Because it is pretty light, coming in, you know, under 300 for a size 12, you can get going and it does feel pretty good. But as you get quicker and quicker around that 4 minute Ks, you just don't have that snappy feeling, and that's when I'll transition to something a bit firmer under the foot. Now, negative, I am a man that loves the rocker. Clinically, I really love the rocker as well. So you can see with this, I mean, this has got a lot of Ks in it. That was a little bit more down. It's just bottomed out a little bit, but you don't really notice the rocker as much. But it's hard when you're running, which we all are, running in more rockered shoes. This can feel a little bit less, but I really like that. I think out of all the shoes that I've run in, this kind of fits the category of it does feel like I'm getting a little bit back. It feels nice underfoot, but I feel as though I can still get the ground. And I think I'm running in I don't want to say minimalist, but running in less, I guess, more of a minimalist shoe than what's on the market today. So I think the majority of people are really going to enjoy this shoe, and it fits in with lots of the things that we need shoes to do. Speaking therapeutically, so if you're a runner, an athlete, none of this, or it might make a little bit of sense to you, but speaking therapeutically, what I've found this shoe works the well for, again, foot orthoses, where you're needing a big medial or lateral ramp, just because you have that room in through there. And what I've found with doing those types of devices is, if I'm using a foot orthosis and I'm pairing it with a shoe that's narrower in through here, you find people can almost fall off the shoe a little bit, or you find that the arch of the inner sole, or even depending on how wide their rear foot is, the outside can come off. So this has got a pretty wide base, so you should be able to fit a fair amount in there. And for people with that more cavus foot, having a higher drop is going to work really well with things like heel lift. And typically people, with the cavus foot have reduced ankle range, so propping them up does feel better. Anything inside the shoe, as I said, metatarsal domes, forefoot deflections, which we do quite a lot of, fits really well. And people still like the shoe, and as clinicians, we should be trying to recommend shoes that are still fun and people want to run in. But obviously we need the reality of finding what's going to work inside the shoe. So Cloudstratus 3, which, there's plenty of shoes out there. There's plenty of them out there on or Athlete's Foot or Rebel, wherever you get them. And it comes in a lot of nice colors. So I've put walkers that I've seen that wanted some of those features that I need to put inside the shoe, plus runners. So it's got a pretty broad scope, which is always what we want as clinicians, to give people more options. If you're looking for a shoe, just your standard daily trainer shoe that's going to be durable, again, which we want, it's going to feel good, not too firm, not too soft, and plenty of room in through there, the Cloudstratus 3 is going to be the shoe for you. And it's plenty reasonably priced. It's an awesome option.